Here with the dads, Harris and Dave. Well, we're down to day 2, and so today is going to be really a big baking day. Harris actually already did our pie shells, and he's got his pumpkin pie done, and I'm getting ready to make a recipe that I've gotten from a friend of mine from many years ago, John. John shared this with me. It's actually a layered cheesecake and pumpkin pie. You actually layer the one layer on top of the other. So I'll show you how we do that. I've got all my ingredients laid out. Harris and I are quite different in the kitchen. Harris is a wing it sort of guy. It's like, oh, yep, that looks good. I like to precisely measure things. I'm not quite as good of a baker in the kitchen. He knows how to just feel it and eyeball it, but if you're not quite like me, or if you're a little bit like me, I should say, where you're not as comfortable in the kitchen, I like to measure it, set it out like this ahead of time. That way I'm also certain not to miss any of the ingredients. You heard his story earlier about the sugar. Well, that won't happen because I've got it all laid out. And I also keep my handy recipe ready. All right, so we're going to start out. I've got my cream cheese already softened, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And we're going to put that in our mixer. Now what I'm going to make certain we do is don't overmix the cream cheese because you don't want too much air in it. Alright, so I'm going to do that, and then I want to lightly beat an egg that I'm going to add to this. I've already got it there. Actually, I'm going to drop this down, get it going. I'm just going to put it only on low. Then I'm going to put my beaten egg right into my cream cheese. Okay. Let that run for just a moment. Alright, to that I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar. Slowly, so it incorporates as it goes. And then we are going to do 1/2 teaspoon of our vanilla. Now, sometimes it's good to go just a little bit over. Well, I like a little extra vanilla in it. There we go. Okay. Let that run for just a moment, then I'm going to scrape down the sides. Excuse me 1 second, I just need to come over here and grab a spoon to scrape it down with. Okay. It's important because you want it all to incorporate, but at the same token, you don't want to just keep whipping and put too much air in that. Alright. There. Just more. It's going to take just a moment. Okay. While that's going, I'm going to go ahead and put my ingredients for the next layer into my other bowl here. I'm going to put 1 1/4 cups of pumpkin. I have the pumpkin puree that I use from the can, which is really just fine. You know, one year when I was doing this with my father, we actually took the pumpkin and we boiled it and we put it through all the cheesecloths and got it all going, and did all the work for it, which was a lot of work, by the way. And when we were done, I have to say it wasn't all that much better in taste to me, and it was a whole lot more work. Again, I'm just going to scrape this down until I get this fully mixed. You can see it's not fully incorporated just yet. Again, I'm not quite as adept in the kitchen with these things as Harris, but it always turns out for me. So, alright, so we've got that going again. I've got my pumpkin in here, which is 1 1/4 cups pumpkin. I have 1/2 cup of sugar that I'm going to mix with that. I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You'll notice that even though these are both pumpkin pies, our recipes are different. I have 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger, which is really yummy, I think. And then we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Again, fresh grated nutmeg is always best. Most all of your grocery stores will carry the actual nutmeg itself, the nut. And it's okay to eyeball this part, because a little extra nutmeg won't hurt, just add a little extra flavor, which is wonderful. We're going to also put a dash of salt, which will just kind of help bring all the flavors out that much more so. So we just put a little dash of salt to that. Okay. And then we're going to add our evaporated milk, which I already have 1 cup of evaporated milk. And we're going to also put 2 eggs, but let me come back over here because I think this is now totally done. I'm looking at it and it looks beautiful. Yeah, that's just the consistency. I'll show it to you in 1 second. You get in there good and tight? Let's see. All right. Get these beaters out of here. All right, can you see that? That's the consistency we're looking for. All right, let me get my pie shell out of the refrigerator because I've kept it in here chilling. You want to really put that in your pie shell nice and cold. And you can see Harris already did it with the egg yolk wash for me, which will actually act as more or less like a shellac. Keep the crust from getting soggy on me. And this is a 9-inch pie shell that we've done here. And it's, you know, if it's okay, if you've got a 9.5 inch and you're using that, that'll be fine as well. This recipe actually does call for a 9-inch. I'm looking at this shell here, and this one looks like it's a 9.5, but that's okay. It'll only be a problem if we didn't have enough room for all this lovely batter, but we will have room for all we've got to go in here. Now you see how I've spread this out, and I try to make it nice and even, because remember, when we cut into it, you're going to want to see the perfect layers layered right onto that. Okay? So we've got that one done. Let's get it all in there. Here we go. All right. Yummy. All right, so back over here. Now we're going to whip up 2 eggs, slightly beaten eggs, which I already have here. We're going to add that to our mixture. And we're just beating them lightly because we want them to be fully blended together, the whites and the yolks. Okay. And then we're going to mix all these ingredients together, and I'll just use a whisk today for this as opposed to the mixer because we don't need, again, too much air incorporated. We're just really trying to blend this together well. Now this filling is going to be a very runny filling. You know, until it cooks and it sets up with all the egg in it, it will be a bit runny. All right. So what we're going to do, the trick really, so it does not mix the cream cheese with the pumpkin, we're going to actually use a ladle to ladle it on top of that. And I think that will make that actually come out very well. I've done this many a times, and I just use this ladle right here, and that works out quite well. All right, if you can follow me over, camera. Thank you. All right. You can see, if you look down, can the camera come in close? You see, I'm going to be very careful when I pour it in there so that it does not actually blend together. All right. So we're going to get all this in here, as I said, just like that, so that it does not disturb the cheesecake below, which is really what we're trying to do. Because when you cut into it, you want everybody to see that perfect slice, with the first layer being a nice, rich cheesecake, and the top of it being a delicious pumpkin pie. So clearly, 2 distinctly different pies, although we in essence have now 2 pumpkin pies for our holiday. Yep, if you looked at our menu, we said we were only going to do 1 pumpkin pie. Well, hey, bonus is you got both. Listen, I hope you are able to enjoy this like we are. It's always a treat for our family. Happy Thanksgiving from the dads, Harris and Dave.